Again, it was a non-contact injury that he had, and just tried to get through rehab, get it, which was recommended. It just didn't work, so we had a scope, and it came out very, very positive, and we expect to get him back. You know, I don't know when he's going to be back in terms of working, but get him back for next year. He's a really young player that's got great ability. He's a great kid. He's worked hard. Some people ask about the redshirt year. Can you get that redshirted? Well, there's certainly rules that apply to this, but we're certainly going to do everything we can to possibly get the year back. So that's up with him, and finally got some information on that. He was just in my office, and he's real excited about getting going and moving on. Tennessee is a very good football team. They're playing well. It's had 2 back-to-back big wins for them. And really, he's just doing a great job building that football program, and certainly got our challenges there. And so we're working hard to improve, and I think we're getting a little bit better each and every week. This is another great environment we're going to play in. Got great respect for their fans and that game day environment, and it's a great opportunity to go play in another back-to-back 100,000 seat plus stadium. And certainly, hopefully, we can play our best, and that'll be our goal to do that.
When you say trying to get the year back from Oregon, what would the process be for that?
Well, you just have to apply. You have to go through the NCAA, and apply. Try to appeal a redshirt for a redshirt year. So we'll try to do it best we can, and see what we can get.
So will he have to have another surgery, or was that?
No, that's done. He's done. Yeah, he's done.
Room, or what was the?
It wasn't. It was. Again, I don't have all the. It was. There was a little bit of a chip in the bone, I think, and but it had healed through the rehab. His labrum they had to do it, and they just had, from my understanding, they just had to clean up some debris in there, and they were pleased. As they scope it, they could see the healing take place, and so it was. They felt very good about it.
You guys obviously stopped Joshua Dobbs very well last year. He's had 2 or 3 pretty big games in a row. When you look at him, is he a different player? I mean, and how so than the guy you faced last year?
Well, he is a different player. He's playing at a whole different level, which is not unusual. What's interesting is you just kind of look at the history of this year. Their starter, he was 3rd team coming out of camp, and the 1st-team player got hurt. My understanding, the 2nd team backup was not doing very well, and they put him in the Alabama game and did some great things and has played well ever since. So I've seen that occasionally happen sometimes. The guy just is not playing maybe up to his ability, and all of a sudden he gets an opportunity in the environment, and he plays in a big-time environment, and he's played really, really well. He brings to their offense the ability to run the football. They use him in their running scheme. In other words, they'll scheme him to actually run the football. And he's throwing the ball well. It looks like he's got a tremendous amount of poise back there. A good offensive line. Their running back freshman is a big 6'3", 230. We don't see too many guys like that anymore. So he's going to be a challenge, and their receiving core is really, really good. So they're competing at a very high level, and I think you got to point to him and say, he's the reason why, which is not unlike most offenses that are in high school or college and NFL. The quarterback plays well, and everybody plays a little bit better.
The night your offense had the other night, how much of it started with the offensive line? It seemed like they have progressively gotten better as the years gone on.
Yeah, I think we've gotten better because we've stayed healthy too, and I think that's been real important. I mean, it's we've talked about that before, but I think it certainly starts with the offensive line. I think we did a better job finishing blocks. We talk about being a 6-second competitor, and if you're going 4.5, and can every guy in that line block 1 more second, 1,001, that much more, which will give our backs an opportunity to maybe get in the perimeter of the defense and make some plays, because they get in space, they can do that. And so I think we improved and got better. And there was no sacks against a team that's very good at sacks. We're playing a team this week is very good tackles for loss, one of the best in the league, and also best in the league in sacks also. So the challenge will still continue. But I was real pleased with the offensive line. It's amazing when they play well. It allows everybody else to perform at a better level.
Has anybody in particular stepped up on that group?
Oh, I think they're all doing well. I mean, I think they're certainly improving. You got the 3 veteran players, which we also lean on those guys to do a really, really good job. the two other guys are really doing well. So I'm pleased with their progress, and hopefully we'll continue to improve as we go.
Specifically with Brad McNulty, what have you seen out of him the last 4 or 5 weeks?
Brad's just a great competitor, and he's very, very tough, and it's neat to see. He played as a freshman a few years ago, in very adverse, tough conditions for a young player, and it's just he's certainly getting better. And I think communicating around with each other, I think, has certainly helped. So I think moving Connor McGovern, I think, really helped us a little bit too. Made us a little more stout inside there, and working well with Evan. But Taylor Chappell had to play well on the outside, and again, I think he's improving. So it's making progress. I understand there's great challenges this week.
What's Arian Penton's status heading into this?
He's off suspension, and he is back in the program.
How did having Darius White back in the passing game for you guys?
Well, 5 or 6 plays. I noticed some great plays. That third down play, the touchdown catch for that third down play. That was a real important part of the game. It was pouring down rain, and somehow he makes this one-handed catch. And somebody remind me, when Chase Daniel was here, he had J Mack and Chase Kaufman, and I think Chase Kaufman maybe had 10 one-handed catches. So you got to have players make plays, and that's what I'm saying. I talked to our team about that last Thursday. We got to make plays. There's not magic out there. It's the team sport. Yeah, certainly it's the greatest team sport in the world, but you got to have individuals make plays, and if you don't do it, you're not going to win. So I think Darius certainly did a great job, but I think there's a lot of the players with handling the football. A lot of them, Russell Hansborough, I go on, and without naming all of them, but all of those guys I thought really did a good job.
Did Arian have to fulfill any specific requirements?
I don't discuss discipline issues. Never have for 14 years. So.
You had a chance to look at the film. Anything really stand out about Russell's performance to you after getting to watch it?
Really breaking a lot of tackles, quickness. I think with Coach Jones has done a good job with him, and he's different now than he was the first half of the season. He's got great quickness and change of direction, and he would always try to outrun the defense and cut back. And sometimes we were successful. I think we could see that. But what Coach Jones is trying to get him to go downhill more. Okay, and then find creases and use his speed to cut, and I think he gets that now. He's playing different now, and also you just give him a little bit more blocking, and that's the offensive line, and the perimeter people just get a nick on the some of the secondary people. Then you got a chance to have big plays. So, and I think it's very similar to running backs or receivers have great games. I mean, he just got on a roll there, and he's just making some great phenomenal runs. So. It was certainly nice to see that. That's really allows us to obviously be a better offensive football team.
Marcus had his best game in a while on Saturday. I mean, how key is it to have him playing at that level, especially as you progress toward the end?
Yeah, you throw him in there. I think he had 20 carries also for 90 yards. I think he had 5 catches too. So, we really got. I'm sorry. But Marcus also had a really good game. It was right after that. But no, he did. Marcus did. He had a really good game. He played really well also, and really pleased with that. And you got back. One guy's got 190 yards, and another guy's got 90 yards. But we got the number of reps we kind of wanted with both those guys. The numbers and utilizing Marcus Murphy. Marcus Golden obviously played at a very high level too. And he was it just looked like he was almost like on a mission. I mean, he was a game changer in that game, and I think a lot of guys played well on our defense too, but certainly he had an outstanding game.
Marcus Golden was saying after the game that he felt like himself again, after going through the hamstring issues. I mean, did you see him more healthy last week than he had been, or?
Well, I think that's probably just Marcus for himself, would know that, almost like. The trainers can say, Rex Sharp can say, Pat Smith, our team surgeon, could say, hey, you're 100% let loose, but, we can tell him that all he wants, but, maybe he's so guarded against it because he probably did not want to get hurt again. And it sounds like for him, and I didn't know this, but it sounds like he decided I'm going to let it go and just see what happens. And certainly, he had a huge impact on that game. And, him being a captain, a leader, that obviously is leading by example also.
You mentioned after the game, kind of very briefly, maybe there's a little competition with he and Shane, right? Is that a positive thing? I mean,
Oh yeah, that's good. They're great friends, and all those guys are. But they all want to outdo each other, and that's good. Yeah, but they're they're also the one jumping on each other's backs too. So it's a very positive environment.
With Ishwitter getting more and more, kind of, I guess, meaningful carries, how does that kind of impact your flexibility with what you can do with Murphy in the running game?
Well, I think it does a little bit, but I mean we're so well into the season here, with 2 games left, and we will utilize Murph a little bit more in the perimeter. I mean a little bit. We did last week more. He had 5 catches, as I recall. I hope I'm right on that because you'll let me know that if I wasn't. Ish is coming along though too. I mean he's not, but he obviously did some really good things, and he's very similar to our type of backs. I mean quick. A little smaller, quick, change direction, explosiveness, and so he's getting a little more confidence, and so it might help, a little bit, but it just allows us to to also give those guys breaks a little bit more.
I know he was delayed even from a lot of your freshmen getting to campus. Were you surprised at all how late he got here, that he was able to put himself in position through camp?
Yeah, well, I think you always look at that. I think you look at whether you're going to redshirt a guy or not, can he play or not. You got to learn how fast they can pick things up. And there's a lot of variables, but that's certainly one of them. How fast they pick things up, and he did right from the very, very beginning. Amazing. He's a lot different player, and you all can see that too than he was when you saw him in a few reps that he's had prior to that, or if you're in any of our scrimmages. You just guys they've been practicing for 11 weeks into the season now, and they're getting better, and you guys all of them get better, and that's the repetition of practice and practicing the right way. But I was pleased with him and certainly his things he did in the game. And, I think he'll be a real good player, consistent with the type of running backs that we recruit.
How would you evaluate the job that Josh Henson's done to really improve this offense over the past few weeks?
Well, I think Josh Henson and the entire offensive staff together has really done a real good job. I mean, we've adjusted a little bit, a little bit more ball control and protecting the football, and we're playing good defense, and so I think those things you have to do. And I thought we got the ball downfield a little bit more this week, because I think that's what Josh and the offensive staff did. So I think all those guys are doing a great job, and I think again it's consistency. Can we have this performance and on offense and kind of help us? Can we finish playing at a pretty high level? We're going to play some real good defensive teams, so that's our challenge to do that, and hopefully we can. But Josh and the offensive staff has done a real good job.
Coach, Morgan's injury has Russell's workload been higher than you expected it coming into the season?
No, not at all. With Morgan back there, we probably would have. I mean, typically we've had 3 guys because we have these 2 guys and Henry Josie before. We've always kind of worked with 3 quite a bit, and Coach Jones is really good at also kind of getting a feel in the game for who's maybe playing a little bit better than the other or that kind of thing. I don't know how he does it, but he does it, and I trust him that he's going to do it the right way. But what would have happened if we'd had Morgan healthy? We would have probably Murph would have had probably 6 or 7 carries a game. We had him in receiver the entire time, almost. But we have to adjust everything because that happened.
You talked about adjustments. Did you notice anything particular that maybe Maddie did or that the receiving corps did that made them click a little bit better Saturday? It just seemed like they were a lot more in tune Saturday than they had been in the past. So, what clicked in your mind?
I don't know. I think Matty really played well. He missed a throw, that one interception, but what I thought was great is how he responded to it, in the third quarter, and how he played in the whole second half. So I think it starts, with protection and him have time back there. He had a lot of time to throw, more so than maybe we've had. We've also been practicing really hard. We've been really, I tell you that we constantly are working on to make ourselves better, and the only way you're going to get better, as we talked about our defense before, is the only way you're going to get better is on offense too, is repetition and doing everything right as 11 guys. And so it was nice to see that. Can we get some consistency here and see it again? That would be nice if we can. And again, it's the challenge for this defense. Every defense provides different opportunities for us.
Was it last year that players or seniors wanted to stop doing the Friday walkthrough when you go to road games?
Last year I talked to the players a little bit about that. Well, I think the approach we try to take was, the second year in this league was that, more so, I think it started with me and talking with those guys is, this doesn't matter where we play or who we play, it's about how we play. So if that's the case, and this is where we pushed that a lot more last year, with our team at the beginning of the year in August before we played any games. If that's the case, I called him in and said, if that's the case, we can do the walkthrough when we get there instead of driving all the way to the stadium and then going to the hotel once we arrive at the airport. Well, we can do the walkthrough. We get there 5 minutes early, and you guys go walk out before you get dressed for the game. And they said, yeah, let's go for it. Let's do that. And so we decided that's what we're going to do. We're not going to have to see the stadium the day before or anything like that. So, that's what we've been doing a little bit, but again, we're just trying to. That's what we're trying to do this week. We're just trying to focus on playing our best game, and we point to ourselves and how we're going to play, and that's take ownership in that and try to do that the best we can.
Obviously, Harold's really progressed as a player this year, but in terms of his leadership, in terms of his willingness to speak up, has that grown a little bit too?
Yeah, he has. I don't know, how, maybe he used to, because I see nothing during the game on the sideline. I see him a little bit on the field or something, but no, I think when a player starts playing well, then you can say something. If you're doing everything right in the program, if you're doing well in school, if you're a soldier of the program, and and you lead by example, okay, then I think it's a good time to be vocal. And if you're not any of those things, then I don't want guys talking, because for you to stand up, you got to be legitimate in everything you do. And I think he's doing a great job in all those areas. And I think he is saying more. He's and because players have respect for him, and that's really cool. And I just think we've seen a glimpse of what he's capable of. I think he bruised ribs in that game, and he got an X-ray, and he was fine. He could play, and he's okay now. But he went back and played with bruised ribs, and that's not real easy to do. Yeah, against A&M. Yeah.
Jimmy had more involvement Saturday than he had in recent weeks. Did having Darius back kind of open stuff up for him a little bit?
I don't know. Having Darius back seemed to help our whole offense, didn't it? So I don't know. I can't really say that. I think we just got on a roll, and we were, Maddie was throwing well, and good. Again, we had good protection, so it allowed us to do a lot of different things. You're always better when a bunch of your receivers have 5 or 6 catches apiece, because generally it's going to different parts of the field and different type things there. But Jimmy did have a really good game. Made some really big plays, and like all of them did. And so it's again, it's a consistency. Can you do it week after week now? But, it was nice to see our offense, perform at that level.
You need to win these 2 games to get to Atlanta. Is that kind of the situation you guys prefer, to be in total, control?
All I talked to the team about is game 3, and it's November, and all of them know what's going on. But any thoughts beyond that is not very smart in what I do for a living. You got to keep yourself focused, and teams that have their minds start wandering about this and that and this and that all the time, when they're wandering, someone else's competitors focusing on the game. And so this is game 3. This is the most important game for us in November, right to this point. And there's opportunities out there, but the margin of error is there is no margin of error.
Gary, I know you guys recruited Derek Barnett last year. Are you at all surprised that he's doing what he's doing this quickly for Tennessee?
I think anytime you see a player do it that quick, it's a little bit of a surprise. But no, he's a very, very talented player. He's a really good kid too. Talked to him on the phone a lot. So he's a really good kid, and he's very, very impressive. And we thought he'd be a very, very good player.
With the scheduling thing, do you prefer to play your conference games in a row, or do you ever think that it'd be nice to have a FCS game in October or November like some of these teams do?
That's future scheduling. We've had to really adjust. We adjust this year. We're adjusting scheduling. When I got here, we had to adjust all our scheduling because there was no order of the right way to do it, and so we changed that. And so we'll get scheduling, and that's something that we're going to have to consider, in the years to come. This year it turned out with 2 bye weeks, and they kind of fell in the exact places you made pretty much like you'd want them to fall. I think you see strategically, if you go look back at people that schedule Big 5, for lack of a better term, teams, and a lot of people schedule those in November, before some of their rival games and other games. I think that's obvious. You guys see that, and so that's very well planned. I mean, you got to beat those teams, which is not every game's tough, but what that does is you're trying to get a break from the SEC, so you try to stick another game in there just to get out of the league. Okay, so you can kind of get healthy. And that type thing, and you do that with buys, you can do that with scheduling. But bottom line, anybody can beat anybody. So that will be a strategy that we have to look at a little bit and discuss. A little bit different than the past. And in the Big 12, we played all the non-conference games like we did this year, and then we played all the conference games. And there's some merit in doing that if you have buys that you can put in the right spot. So those are a lot of things that we have to look at and in the big picture to plan ahead, and that takes a little bit of time.
Well, the last time that happened in 2012 was in the second to last game of the year with the loss to Syracuse. So can that potentially have some impact maybe on the team's focus or anything like that? Is that a worry you have when you set a schedule?
Well, the most important thing like I said, you have to win the game, and that had nothing to do with strategic scheduling. That was the only team that could come play here. So it had nothing to do with it, because I would not have had Syracuse here, okay, if I had a choice. I'm not going to tell you who I'd have here, okay. But the point is, some of the scheduling you see right now, there's almost no alternative that we have because everybody had their schedule set for so long. All this scheduling now in the last couple of years is almost, you got to sit. Generally, a lot of times it's John. This is the only team we can take, and we work out a deal to get it done, or it's one of two other teams. It's not like we have 8 or 10 teams we're talking to. So, it's again, it's all transition into this league. And it presents, we're not getting it right every time, but we're doing the best we can, but that scheduling is hugely important. Although, you got to win all your games, like you said, you got to win them all.
Time of year where coaches are going to start losing some jobs. Did you know Will Muschamp pretty well? You admire just the job he's done?
Yeah, I just I saw those two, the blocked field goal and that blocked punt. That's one of the miseries of playing on Saturday night is you get to watch all the stuff happen, that happens in college football and the crazy things that happen. And I know he's a great coach. He's a great person. He's very well respected. He's been very respectful to me since I've known him the last 3 or 4 years. And it's just the tough part about the business. And there's nothing. It's sad, because it's. A lot of times it's also a little lady luck's thrown in there. You get the wrong injuries to the wrong people, and all of a sudden, things aren't going to click. So, hopefully, I just hope that he gets another opportunity, and I think he will someday because he's so well respected as a defensive coordinator also, and he's probably learned some things there, and I think he'll get another shot, and I think he'll do a great job.
2 of A&M starters on the defensive line didn't play against you guys. You guys have also played against some backup quarterbacks, and news today that Tennessee has 2 defensive players suspended. Just wondering how you guys prepare for the backups that come in that maybe aren't on the tape and film that you guys watch as much, especially on short notice.
Well, they might be playing here, so we don't know that. We just got to be prepared for everything. And if a player's playing that hasn't played, then you just got to go out and learn as you go. So really, it's not. It's pretty unclear what's going to happen. We got to be prepared for everything.
After the Georgia game didn't look too bright for what this team could accomplish, did you still think this team had this kind of potential in it, or were you just trying to kind of keep it on the rails?
I thought we could be a good football team. That game was a really disappointing game because, you turn the ball over 5 times, you're not going to beat anybody. And it was kind of maybe a low point, although I get more, when things get tough, I get more focused and more energized than I do in feeling sorry for myself and feeling bad. So I thought we could have a good football team. I don't think you really know all the time, but I thought we could have a really good football team, and we've come together. We've won some big games, some close games. But I thought we could have a good football team. Now, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. You get in this league and honestly, you start your first conference game, you go play it, and you brush yourself off and go do the next one, because the daunting task of looking at that schedule sometimes, and you go week by week, and we got a little momentum going, I guess, but. I know it's a long answer for your question, but I thought we could be a good football team. How good can you get? We'll see.
Do you think your staff's done an even better job this year than maybe even last year when you guys were one of the top 5 teams in the nation, just because there were maybe.
Well, there's one game difference for us right now is that we lost to Indiana. Other than that, we exact same record as we did a year ago. Same thing. Our loss was a double overtime loss. It wasn't we got beat bad by Georgia, who just outplayed us. Did a great job. They did a great job. But I don't know. I don't really compare that. But our staff does it. We got great staff. I got good people around me. I always have. I've been blessed with that my whole life. And I think that they've done a great job. Our defense has been playing for 7 straight weeks at a very consistently high level against some really good people. And having that consistency there when your offense has been struggling, and it's been reversed before in other years. Okay, we're just not used to it as much. But, defense playing at that level. And then I thought offensively some adjustments we've been making. We didn't just absolutely start throwing downfield all the time like we've done in the past as much. Got a little bit more ball control, run the ball more, play action pass, utilizing that defense that we have. Don't turn the ball over, that kind of thing. Get 3 first downs if you punt it. Brinzer does a good job. Create a long field, that kind of thing. I think that's where we work together as an offense and defensive staff to bring the best out as our football team. So I think, that we subtly kind of did that. We didn't have a meeting and say, okay, this is the direction we're going to go. We kind of subtly kind of evolved to that, with the situation we were in. And time for our offense, hopefully, to get better as we go. And, maybe we're getting better.
Gary, I know you don't like to talk too much about the road winning streak, but there's kind of a theory that defense travels a little better than offense. It's a little less of a variable. Do you think that this year that's kind of proven that out for you guys?
I don't know. I asked about that, and this the only thing I have to say is I just it's about the whole thing about playing, whether you play here or you play on the road in this sport, is the ability to be able to focus and be able to handle the good things and bad things that happen in the game. Bottom line, that's it. There's nothing else. Okay? Can you maintain your focus, whether it's in the zoo or it's at South Carolina or wherever it's at? Can you maintain your focus? You have the ability to do that, and do you believe that if you do that, you got a chance to play your best? To me, that's all it is. And I don't know. This is game 3. We're going to focus to play our best there, and hopefully we can. Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate it.